Good afternoon, Oak Grove. Happy Thursday. Welcome to this week's installment of our Midweek Update series here on the church's YouTube channel, where I just pop into your device in the middle of the week to smile at you and say hello and to try to keep the church on our consciousness for the remainder of the week outside of Sunday morning when we're in worship, because that's such an important thing for us to do. So thanks for taking a few moments to join me on here today. I hope that your holiday prep is going well. I hope everybody's shopping and wrapping and baking and decorating and all of that good stuff is going well for this month. What am I going to talk to you about today? I talked to you last week about the fact that, as everyone in the church family knows, Julie and I have been ill as of late. Her new job as a preschool teacher that she started 3 months ago just continues to be the gift that keeps on giving. All of the folks that we know who have been teachers or who have worked in childcare have said to her, give it about a year. You're going to be miserable for about a year, and then your immune system will catch up. And so I talked to you last time about the disappointments that sometimes come with the holiday season, and the fact that I was disappointed that because of illness, I've had to cancel multiple events and I've had to reschedule or postpone things that I wanted to do over the last couple of weeks. And you can probably still hear it in my voice. How are we doing right now? Well, I think that the virus is gone for both of us now, but we're both still crudded up. That's a phrase that one of my old bosses in my old first career work that he always used to say whenever his head was congested, he would say, I'm crudded up, you know. Julie's still crudded up in her throat. She's still coughing a lot, and I'm crudded up a lot in my nose. Every cold or flu that I get settles right into my nose. And so, you know what? As I wondered what I was going to talk to you about today, I'm going to talk to you today about my nose. And I'm going to use my nose as a point of reflection. Everybody has, their list of body parts where, okay, if you could go to God and ask for a new one, what would you have replaced? Well, one of my top three, one of my top two or three would almost certainly be my nose. And I'm not talking from aesthetic purposes, although I don't think it's terribly aesthetic either. But I'm talking from a functionality purpose. I have very narrow sinus passages. The walls of my nose are very narrow. I have a deviated septum. I have nasal polyps. I am allergic to almost everything there is. And so I feel like for large portions of my life, my nose doesn't work the way that it's supposed to work. That's why every cold and flu that I get, the virus ends up settling into my nose, and I almost always get a secondary sinus infection that lasts for another week or two past when the cold virus actually ends. And one side effect of that is the fact, and I've been telling people from around the church this, and they're all surprised when they hear it, because it sounds inconceivable to them, but according to my primary care doctor, it's fairly normal. According to the internet, it's fairly normal. Every time I get sick with a cold or flu, and it settles into my nose like it does, I completely lose my sense of smell and taste for a while, for at least several days, usually like a week or more. And everybody upon hearing that, they say, wow, really? I haven't heard of that. And then their next thought is, are you sure you don't have COVID? Have you been tested for COVID? Because COVID is usually associated with the loss of smell and taste. Yes, it's not COVID. I've tested multiple times. It's not COVID. I just get this with regular cold and flu. I get a regular cold or flu, and I lose all my smell and taste for like 3, 4, 5 days minimum, usually around a week or more before it really starts to come back. And during that time, life is pretty miserable. Now, I'm not trying to make too much out of my own problems and that's exactly what I'm going to use as a reflection point in just a moment. I don't have problems compared to some people in this world. However, that doesn't mean that we can't gripe to God about the little problems that we do have, because they still matter to us. And one of my gripes for the last week has been, boy, when you lose 40% of your senses, 2 out of 5 of your senses, no smell and no taste, the world sure feels kind of flat and two-dimensional and joyless to me. I'm a very sensory-oriented person. I experience the world very much through my senses. And as soon as I walk into a room that I'm used to smelling a certain way and I don't detect that smell, something is missing for me. And so I've been grumbling to God in prayer about it. Light grumbling. light grumbling, but, I've been griping to God a little bit about it. Now, of course, in the very next breath after I gripe about it, I also then immediately feel guilty for having griped about it because compared to so many people on earth, I am so blessed. Let's stop and count our blessings like I'm always telling you all to do. You don't have problems, Steve. You're going to be okay. But I'm using my nose as an opportunity for reflection today because what is the lesson that I'm going to drive home about it? There's no one core lesson, but I'm just going to share a couple thoughts, which is first of all, whenever we're waiting on a situation that is outside of our control, we really, really hate that. And it leaves us feeling helpless and powerless. Well, that's kind of how God's people felt when they were waiting for the Messiah to come the first time. We are in the season of Advent, and it's a season about expectation and waiting, right? And the little kids who eagerly await that big Christmas gift that they think they're going to get, like, let's say that there's a kid out there that thinks he's going to get a PS5 for Christmas this year. And those of you who don't know what that is, ask a younger person what that is. If he knows he's going to get a PS5, if he even saw that his mom and dad bought it for him, oh boy, he cannot wait until Christmas morning. The kid that is eagerly awaiting for the big gift on Christmas morning is the one who really kind of actually does, despite the commercialism. He understands the spirit of Advent. It is about waiting for the big gift. It is about waiting for the greatest gift that humanity has ever been given. We should be eagerly looking forward to Christmas with that kind of bated breath. And so when the people of Israel were waiting for their Messiah to come and they're suffering through persecution after persecution, they were conquered by foreign kingdoms, carried off into exile, didn't know if God was ever going to save them. It makes you feel helpless while you're waiting, but Advent is about waiting and knowing that God is going to deliver. So that's one thing. And the other reflection I'm going to take from my nose and the fact that it's not quite working right at the moment is the fact that it reminds me of how much I have whenever it does start working again. Every time I do catch a cold or a flu and I lose my sense of smell for like a week, whenever my smell does start to come back, it almost brings a tear to my eye that I'm reminded with gratitude just how much I ordinarily have and that I take for granted. And so many of the simple joys of everyday life, the things that we experience, the things we love, the things that make us happy, our favorite foods or the odor of what it is like to be involved in any of our favorite activities. I know a lot of you folks here at Oak Grove are very outdoorsy people, so the smell of the soil when you go to plant your garden in the springtime, or the smell of the woods when you go hunting in November every year, those odors just fill you with joy and satisfaction. And so sometimes you might need to have one of your favorite things temporarily taken away in order to remember just how blessed you are, how thankful we should be for all that we've got. You don't know what you've got until it's gone. And so one little theological lesson God gives me every time I lose my smell in this way is that when I get it back, I remember just how blessed it is simply to live, just the gift of life every day. And so those are my reflections that I leave you with this week, Oak Grove. There are things that even a stuffy nose can teach us about the kingdom of God. And so count your blessings and look for the ways in which the simple joys of everyday life are ways of God showing his love to you. And so we can even learn a lesson from our nose with regards to that. That's what I've got for you this week. I'm going to shut up because I'm at 9 minutes, and I keep saying I'm going to try to shorten these. I will see you Sunday morning for worship, and don't forget that after worship, we're going to have a light lunch, and then we're going to carpool out to do some Christmas caroling for our Oak Grove shut-ins. So please join us for that. Whether you can carry a tune or not, all are welcome. So I will see you Sunday, Oak Grove. Take care, and God bless.